Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feels so nice.
Welcome. Coffee.
Filo.
What?
Filo.
The filo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elmina.
Yeah.
It's the filo. You see this one? They did what I do. I will give you some question.
Ah.
The kind of flag. Just give me some.
Some were seen as wrongdoers, some were debtors, and some didn't commit any crime. They walked barefooted from wherever they were captured. So Salaga in the northern part, Sandema, Togo, Jembi, coming down to the central region, a village called Asinamanso. It's 1 hour, 3-minute drive from here. That was where they had the last shower in the river before they walked from there to the castle. So imagine a place like this. And this place was total darkness. The only source of light and ventilations were the small openings up there. Ironically, we are under the church. On top of the male dungeon, this way happens to be the church. So I will tell you more about the church and everything. Let's have the light and let us keep moving down. Come with me, please. Come with me. So total darkness. And in those days, they were looking for strong men and women to work. Wonderful family, you are welcome. We just started, but you have missed the condemned cell. So after the tour, I will take you there.
Thank you so much.
Right. So join us and let's look at this place. We are looking at the life in the dungeons. We are looking at the life in the... Please just be mindful of the flow. Just be mindful of the flow. So this is the male slave. Alright. So this is the first dungeon. And some of us have been to the condemned cell. And this place was called the strong room. So it was those who were disturbing here, fighting for their rights. They were not able to control them anymore. So they sent them to that place for them to struggle and die. Doing so will be a lesson to the person who is also disturbed. But the conditions here were the same. As I indicated earlier, no lights in the dungeons. So these were the source of light and ventilations. The enslaved African men and women were fed in the dungeons twice a day. This is the same place that they defecated on the floor. They urinated, some vomited because of the scent. So they do everything down here for about 6 weeks before the ship arrived to take them away. And any time it rains, rainwater comes in through the small openings down to wash the blood, the feces, the sweat, everything from here. So it flows down into the ocean. And wonderful family, you cannot imagine if it doesn't rain, and even if it rains and it doesn't come here, what will happen in the dungeons. So this place was designed for 1,000, but some died before the ship arrived.
1,000.
1,000 for the 5 sections. So if you want to divide 5 by 1,000, 200 in each section. Now let me show you, please come. If you were directed to join us, please come come and join us. So let us open up. I want to show you something before we move on. Let me show you something before we move on. So as the training went on, the feces, the human flesh, since they were not able to move into the ocean, they gradually accumulated to where we have these marks. So it is not just an ordinary mark that you see here, but we call it excavation mark. It was marked in 1974. They were students from University of Ghana. According to the students, where they mark is to show us the level of all the accumulated waste. And the floor where we are now was like this. So they excavated everything, they tested it, they did a hole, and done all of that. So as we are doing the walking tour, we can say that this is the original floor because there are no more pieces at the side. But the rest, we still have the blood, the flesh, everything on the floor. So this place being the original floor, let us step on the human flesh, the width. So moving on, starting from the entrance, the floor was not like this originally. The original floor was just like the first one because they used the bent bricks, the marbles for the construction. As I indicated earlier, all the cement blocks that you see in the castle, they are all recent development because they never used anything like cement. So this is the floor, and please come with me. We are still taking a walk in the male slave countries. Under the church still, the name of the church was SPG, Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, SPG for short. So the church started on top of the dungeon, the male dungeon. And we'll see the church. I will tell you more about the church outside. In front of that same church was this small opening. This is a place that they can't see through all the 5 sections. But in case of any unusual noise in the dungeons, the officers will hear the noise through this side. The enslaved African men, women, were facing difficulties. That was a language barrier. The officers were facing same, but they were dying of malaria as well. So I'll tell you more about the impact of malaria and everything outside. So this is the 3rd section. When I'm done with the last one, if you have any questions, have time to ask your questions. Still moving on, taking a walk in the male slave dungeons. So the 4th section. When you look at this side, the original openings were just like this one to prevent escape. We'll see the last section and we continue the tour. So as I am done with this side, I'll wait for a while for those who want to ask questions. Do so before we continue. So may we never allow such an injustice to happen again. As we are experiencing the life in the dungeons, what our people went through. We have come to the last section, and this place, it has been sealed as you see now. In those days, when the enslaved African men and women, they will be at one side. The fathers, the brothers will be here. To control them, they don't use the main entrance there to go through the final exit, but they use underground passage. The entrance to that underground passage was here. So people were chained to each other. They walked through this one. They came out at a distance to join our mothers and sisters. and to the final exit. In those days, our people were used over there to work in plantations. They were doing other jobs. But when they were able to implement machines, when they have more labor legally, slave trade was abolished in 1807. And there was another form of trade in our country called the legal slavery, which was abolished a year later, that is 1834. So 1834 was when Captain John McLean ordered them to close the tunnel. So this was sealed. You're welcome. Any problem?
Thank you.
So this was sealed in 1834. If this place was not closed, we could have walked without the experience to go through the final exit. And when the place was sealed, it was dedicated to the souls of the ancestors who went through to the New World as the result of transatlantic slave trade. Over here, we have this as a shrine. The history behind the shrine is such that it was here long ago, before Portuguese came to settle on the land to build a lot in 1555. So it means that this one wasn't worshipped by the slaves, but the Indians on the land before the rest came. At the point that the Indians were not having access to worship, they removed everything in the spirit from here precisely to where we have the Ghana Commercial Bank now. So when British left the Cape Coast to Accra, they performed another rituals and they brought it back. So this one is still here to emphasize more about the traditional religion before introduction of Christianity. They were not going to church, but it doesn't mean they don't believe in God. They had their own way of worship before the introduction of Christianity. So you see Pambuan, Shrine, Calabash, it means that they took all libation here, it's a form of prayer. But they believe that they worship, they pray to the smaller gods, to the Almighty God. So this one serves as a mediator between man and the Almighty God.
According to tradition.
So yes, tradition. We are talking about traditional religion. So they usually Christianity going to church to worship, but this was what we were doing before they came. So this is Nana Tabir Shrine in Cape Coast Castle.
Nana
Tabir as one of the 77 lesser gods in Cape Coast. So shrines like this, 77 in Cape Coast.
Wow.
77
Wow.
in different locations. Right,
Nana
so
Tabir.
let's see this one.
Nana Tabir.
I will soon end at the side. Nana Tabir. That is the name of the shrine in the castle, which was here before Portuguese, Dutch, Danes came to build the lodge, later on into a castle. Lined up here are wreaths. Now these ones from the descendants, the sisters, the brothers in diaspora. It got to a time that our enslaved African men and women were given emancipation, the freedom. It was celebrated in Ghana in 1998. So every first August is emancipation, and these ones remember those who died in the dungeons on their way coming from the hinterland, talking about Togo, Nigeria, Benin, Salaga, all the way to Asinaman, so those who died over there. These ones remember them. So I am done with this side. Is there any question, anything that you want to know? Those who just joined us, don't worry. After the talk, we'll go back to where you are from. You have missed just one part. That is the condemned cells, so I'll take you there. Right, my brother?
You said a traditional religion.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there a name for it?
Nana Tabir. Nana Tabir.
Nana Tabir?
Yes, that is the name of the shrine. When you visit other shrines, they also have their names. But this is Nana Tabir. We have the Hessica 77 in Cape Coast alone, and in different locations. Yeah, different names. So for this one, they have a traditional priest for this one, but it's unfortunate that it's not here. So sometimes we pour libation for us to see how they communicate through the smaller God to the Almighty God.
So
But today is not around.
once they became enslaved, while they were being held here, they were not allowed to worship, right?
No.
There.
The shrine was not here when they built the dungeon.
Nothing.
So we are not allowed to go anywhere to worship or to do
Nothing.
anything.
No
We
reason.
just wait in the dungeon till the ship arrived. As soon as we were captured. Either you were working alone, either you were captured through wars, whatever, you be here and wait for the ship.
Did they make them go to church upstairs or something?
The church initially wasn't for them because of the language barrier, but at the point they were able to train people to communicate with their own people, which I will tell you more outside.
I'm lucky you're looking for Hamilton.
My life is still short on the other day.
Mounted the cannons and all right, so we are now at the courtyard of the castle. We went to the mill dungeon, and you could testify that you can just see some changes in the site. Imagine those who were there months before the ship arrived. So we are now at the cemetery, the courtyard of the castle. Many people were buried here, but their names were not mentioned. For now, only 4 identified graves, and there's just one unidentified grave. The very first one here, a gentleman from Cape, happens to be the son of one of the African middlemen. There were 3 boys that British baptized them, named them Philip, Thomas, and Eve. They were sent England for training, but unfortunately 2 died. Remained the last one called Philip. Philip was born on Wednesday, so the name was Philip Kweku, but British couldn't pronounce the name Kweku, so it was anglicized to Kweku. The gentleman was a Wednesday born, so this is Philip Kweku. And the name of the church was XPG, Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, and later renamed Anglican Church. So this gentleman returned from England. He was ordained as a priest of the Anglican Church, and later on the headmaster of Cape Coast Castle School. So that same building up there was the church, and later a classroom where formal education started, the Cape Coast Castle School. He was born in 1741. He was here for 50 years, and he died 1816. So every 17th October, the Anglican communities celebrate Philip's Day. The church, the school is no more in the castle, so the place is now famous that we pass by before we enter the guided tour. Cape Coast was the first capital before it was transferred to Accra in 1867. Up the side opposite the then governor's residence. The first floor here used to be our museum. As I said, it has been closed for some time now. The second floor, Palaver Hall. Palaver means to talk, to bargain. So that place was a slave market where the people were auctioned before they separate them into the dungeons. I will take you there to look at the place. So let's move on to the 3 here, still at the cemetery, the graveyard of the castle. The very first person here, the mortar you met, Captain George MacLean. George MacLean, a Scottish, born in 1801, was the president of the British Committee of Merchants from 1830. 1843, he became the judicial assessor, established the first court of justice up there. He also ordered them to close the tunnel. He designed the bond of 1844, which was signed at the Palaver Hall, the slave market, to usher in colonial administration. He died 1847, 46 years, confirmed malaria parasite. The middle one there, Letitia Elizabeth London, the wife of Macklin. She was born in 1802. She came down to visit the husband, but unfortunately the wife died. Some say the wife died of malaria, others say no, she committed suicide, that the husband was having an affair. So after hearing the news, the wife poisoned herself and died. So 1838, 36 years, the wife of Macklin also died in the castle. The last person over there is an army commander by name C.B. Whitehead. He was the leader of the soldiers. The soldiers were behind this block. He died 2nd July 1812. Because the place was built in stages and it changes hands from the Portuguese, the Swedish, the Dutch, the Danes, they mounted the cannons and cannonballs all around the castle in case of any attack. So that is why you have the mortar balls here, the cannons, and then we have some there to point to the sea for sea defense. And there are other ones also for land defense. I will show you when we get to the other side of the castle. So still at the cemetery, the graveyard of the castle, let's go to where we have the water system. I am opening this one, there's water inside, but please make sure you don't drop your phone, your spares. It is 18 feet deep. And we have this as the water tank or the water system. 4 of them in the castle and where they harvested rainwater in those days because they don't have access to pipe-borne water. For now we have this one here, so the water in there is pipe-borne water, but we don't use it for drinking. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to walk on top of the underground tunnel, starting from the last place where the shrine is. So if you want to take the pictures, take the lead, take the pictures before we continue with the guided tour. If you have any question, I'm coming right there so that you can ask your questions. So let's go to where the cannons are. Alright, so the cannon balls are here for those strong men and women who want to do some small exercise. The cannon balls are there, you want to try your hands, they are there. So they are there for those who want to do some small exercise.
You can give it a try.
You can pass it around, those who want to try. If you want to do some small exercise,
They save you.
and just where the cannons are. The cannon balls, you can pass it around. Be careful. So when you pack the balls in there, there is this portion for gunpowder. You lit match here, so it will drive the balls out to the ship. They are rare cannons and cannonballs, just that they don't work anymore. So from here, let us continue this way. Look at the underground passage. You see the low of the tunnel, starting from the dungeons. So the enslaved African men entered from where the shrine is. This is the continuation. But down here they were counted. So a guide will be here with a gun, urging them to move. So 1, move. 2, move. He will not go down. Neither will the slaves come here. This is the continuation for the underground passage. So the place has been sealed. But those who want to have the look at the tunnel, please move to this side, watch your head, and peep through the underground passage.
Excuse me.
Careful there. It is 18 feet deep and 66 meters from where the shrine is to this place. So it is not easy. Very, very deep. And that is it. With the gun pointing at you. So you by all means move. You by all means. 1, move. 2, move. If you don't move, they will come down there. There is one person counting them for them. Yeah, they were recounted to make sure they were up to the number. So that is the underground passage that we are looking at. They entered from where the shrine is. And this is the passage to the door of no return. We are moving to the final exit. The final exit. So watch your head there, please. Make sure you don't slip. Just be careful. From the spider. So the same thing here. The same thing. The same underground passage. Step down, 1 step, 1 step. The of the tunnel also was sealed the same year. Again, they entered from where the shrine is with the shackles. And this happens to be the exit of the tunnel. They came here and to the final exit. You see that big door? It wasn't very big then. It was very small. But that is the door of no return. So the tunnel ends here, and that is the final exit.
So they come out here?
Yes. They were examined at the slave market, and thereafter they were separated. We have been to one side, that is the male dungeon. We are now going to the female dungeon. Some of us have been to the cell, that's the male cell. We are now going to the female cell, because some of the ladies also were fighting for their rights. The rest, I'll take you there when we are done with the guided tour. Fighting for your rights. As a lady, you were condemned. And the ladies also were punished for a while. For a while means that after the punishment, you go back to the female dungeon. And this place was meant for those who attempted to run away.
Sorry.
And they were rearrested. As a soldier going to war, you know you don't go with your wife or your family. So the people or our sisters down there were raped by the officers. If you say no, you are in trouble, they will punish you till you change your mind. So this is a place for such ladies. There was a dog here, by the time the door should reach. And this place is just a small place, the cell that I am talking about. So if you want to have a look at the small cell, have a look at this side. I've been to the big one, that is condemned cell. And this is the small cell for our mothers and the sisters. I've not talked about that hole yet, but just look at the small place. So it is not the condemned cell. That is why they have the small place, for them to have the light, the food, everything through the side. And that hole there, that's the place that links the blood, the feces, the sweat, everything from the middle dungeon into the ocean. So imagine when you are there, everything from the middle dungeon comes straight to the side. So that's your number one punishment. For not, yes, allowing yourself to be raped, everything. That is your punishment. Right, so let's see the waiting room for our mothers. The smell, everything. Everything. So up here, the female slave dungeons. One here, two there. The male dungeon for 1,000. The female dungeon between 300 and 500 for the two. So a step down, come with me to the female dungeon where mothers and sisters were held. 11 years upwards, we're here. We don't have the separate dungeons for children. So mothers, girls will be here, fathers, boys will be there. When they died, on record, most of them were thrown into the ocean, and few ones were having mass burial at the cemetery or the graveyard over there. So this place, the conditions were the same. No light in those days, and that is the source of light and ventilations. They defecated in the dungeons wherever they are, and the place was very dark. In the center, if you are stepping on anything, something else you will not see. Having your menses in the dungeon, doing everything here. So the ship arrived. So looking at the conditions down here, most of them doesn't want to eat. They prefer dying than suffering. So they don't eat, they don't drink, and they die. But those who survived, they were changed each other. Brothers and fathers, they came through the exit over there. And this is the final exit. A place that you lost contact with your family, your language, your names, your culture, everything. So let us see the final exit let's see the final exit. This was the final exit that we lost contact with everything. As I indicated earlier, where we have the exit, this door, it is not the original door. Original door as at that time was very short, very small. In the sense that you watch, you bow, you speak before you go through this one. So to America, Jamaica, Haiti, Brazil, wherever they have the plantations. So let us see the side, which is now the fishing village. Let's come out. Let's come out. Yeah. In their time, the door of no return for the enslaved African men and women. Officers, as they are going and coming in, this staircase for the officers, because they don't want to bow, they don't want to speak, and this is for the door for them. Behind the same door, there is another door. When the ship arrived, down here at the shore, they were loaded with small boats.
Yeah, she's gonna afraid. Come over.
So I'll tell you why the door is in those days, it used to be the door of no return. And the door of return that you have here, it doesn't mean some of the slaves return alive to the place. It is just a symbolic. The name changed from no return to return way back in 1998. 1998 first Emancipation Day. A ceremony was held in the castle, but from New York and Jamaica. They returned 2 caskets containing the bones of former slaves. A lady by name Madame Christiansborg, somewhere castle. So with the family, they brought them by air to Accra. Accra to Abanzi is a fishing village. From Abanzi to Cape Coast Castle with the canoes. We were welcomed at the Courtyard. That was the great home. So after the ceremony in the castle, they were reburied at Asina, the same village that they had the last shower before they got the day. So emotionally, symbolically, it is no more the door of no return. This is now the door of return. Welcome the sisters, the mothers back home. Not necessarily coming to the same door, but as a gateway to Africa, it is now door of return. If it were to be those days as we are here, we will not return. But now, because of this door, let us return and we continue with the gathering. So please come with me. Let us return. Let us return. And I guess all of us here, we understand what is written there. As Aquaba. So going through the door of no return, and the door of return. And now coming through the door of return. We understanding everything, what is said Aquaba. So I officially welcome you to Cape Coast Castle for us surviving the final exit. Let us see the governor's rest.
That's it.
from Lille. That's where you want to go.
Alaka was the auction block. So I'll give you a gun. I'll give you this. This is the bargaining hall. And after everything, they were separated into the dungeons. And this was where they signed the bond of 1844. It was a bond which was signed. It was designed by Captain George McLean, signed by Commander Hill and 8 chiefs. So this was where that bond was signed, ushered into colonial administration. It is now the conference room. This place, as you see, now has been modernized. It is only the space, which is still the same. But everything here has been changed. The floor, everything. So let's go to the governor's bedroom. Over there. All right. The judicial assessor, the administrator. So this is the administration block. The same place was converted as the courtroom when he was appointed as the judicial assessor from 1823. So it was named after him, McLean's Hall. As I indicated earlier, anything cement that you see, they are all recent developments. But we have the bricks. So the marble, the bricks, and this is the original door. The door I can condemn here is from one original toilet. And this is the original floor, the marbles. That is the original floor, the marbles that British used for the construction. And the Africans were used as laborers for the construction. Please come to the side.
Naturally.
Yes. Let's come to the side. It's okay. So when you face this side, the area here is called the Chapel Square. About 3 churches. This is the Anglican church, the first one, which started in a castle, but on top of the dungeon. The second one started in Elmina, the Catholic church, and the straight one, Wesley Methodist Church. So behind the straight one, up there on the hill, you see that white structure over there? That one is a fort. A fort which was built by British to serve as watchtower, so that when enemies are coming from anywhere with the ship, the soldiers at the barracks here, 2 in a room, they will not see. But those up there will see the ship, and they will communicate by sending them the light and flash signals. So the signals were sent from the Fort Williams. The same signals were received through the side. So that is the communication room. And later the place, this side was converted as prison yard and closed down 1993. So we still have the officers here. Let's go to his bedroom and the hall. Join me here. Join me at the governor's bedroom and the hall. Spacious, it is more airy. A nice view all around. So welcome to the governor's residence. Spacious place where you cannot compare. This is for one person. And imagine 200,000 people down there. The middle dungeon for 1,000. And this hall for one person. Nice view. pointing to the sea for sea defense. And in case the people here, they want to take a castle, anything from them, they also have the cannons pointing to the land. So this one for sea defense, the ones pointing down there for land defense. So the place was planned, it was well protected against sea pirates and everybody. We have seen the first fort, so that if the signal doesn't come from this one, there's another one here. So 2 forts for this castle. Let's see that second fort.
Talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes. Don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy. Make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it. I wanna see you. See how. Rewind.
Video.
Rewind. So nice. We tight. You are. Know how to make me feel right. I can't help hide this sweet time. I'm already on my way. I'm getting through all the lanes. Sweet
What was actually your itinerary?
Okay.